and gentlemen, please rise to receive the valedictory procession. This valedictory procession comprises of former postgraduate students, consultants, academic and professional colleagues of the valedictory lecturer. And now we are receiving the Vice Chancellor's procession into the auditorium. Led into the auditorium this morning by Mrs. Modupe Obahiago, Senior Assistant Registrar in charge of Senate matters. This procession comprises of the Provost, College of Medical Sciences, Provost, College of Postgraduate Studies, the Dean of Students, Deans of various faculties, Directors of Academic Programs and Institutes, the valedictory lecturer for today, principal officers of our university, and the Vice Chancellor. Receiving the Vice Chancellor's procession. National anthem. Greatest Uniben. Greatest Uniben. Great. Please sit. The Vice Chancellor, the erudite and visionary Professor Edoba Omoyege, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, represented at this valedictory lecture by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Christopher Usubo, Provost, Deans and Directors, Emeritus Professors, other professors and scholars here present, Your Royal Highnesses, government functionaries, members of the Aisien family, staff and students, invited guests, Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure this morning to welcome you to today's valedictory lecture. This is the 21st valedictory lecture in the valedictory lecture series of the University of Benin, to be celebrated, to be delivered by Professor Martins Siaka Ozemoya Aisien, a veteran professor of parasitology. Please let's celebrate him. He will be talking on the topic he has titled, Life is Not All You See on the Surface, the Journey of Discovery by a Curious Parasitologist. May I now invite the Registrar of our university, represented here by a Director of Senate Matters, Mrs. Comfort Ehigiato, to introduce the Vice Chancellor and dignitaries on the Vice Chancellor's procession.
Vice Chancellor, sir. I welcome you all to the 21st valedictory lecture in the series of this university. The Registrar of the University, Mr. Ademola Bobola, is away and he has requested me to represent him. He sends his greetings to you all. I am Comfort Inyegulena Eigiato, Director of Senate Matters. All courtesies duly extended. As stated by the representative of the PRO of this university, let me introduce the Vice Chancellor's procession. Today's procession is led by a determined, focused, transformational, and energetic Vice Chancellor. Let me crave your indulgence to present to this great audience our own learned Sikh, Professor Edoba Omerigri, who is represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor C.C. Usumbo. Other principal officers, provosts, deans, and directors in his procession are as follows. Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor V.O. Igbeneweka. Deputy Vice Chancellor Ekema, Professor B.A. Anyide. The bursar is represented by Mrs. Patricia Ojanero. University Librarian, Professor Jane Abba. Provost College of Medical Sciences is represented by Professor Mrs. V. Omoemo. The host Dean, Dean of Life Sciences, Professor T.O.T. Imobe. Dean, Faculty of Arts, Professor O.B. Osadolo. Dean, School of Basic Clinical Sciences, Professor V.J. Ekanem. Dean, School of Basic Medical Sciences, Professor H.B. Osadolo. Dean, Faculty of Communication and Media Studies, Professor M.A. Okaku. Dean, Faculty of Computing, Professor Mrs. V.V.N. Akukuma. Dean, Faculty of Education, Professor Elvin Agbonlaho. Dean, Faculty of Engineering, Professor K.O. Ogbede. Dean, Faculty of Law, Professor Bright Bazwaye. Dean, Faculty of Optometry, Professor Mrs. F. Idu. Dean, Faculty of Physical Sciences, Professor J.I. Ugbebo. Dean, Faculty of Science Laboratory Technologies, represented by Dr. Kenneth Ojaga. Dean, Faculty of Vocational and Technical Education, is represented by Dr. Mrs. C.O. Wandiani. Director, University Admission Board, Professor E.O. Igbinosa. Director, Center for Part-Time Programs, Professor K.U. Omoyibo. Director, Techfund Center of Excellence in Aquaculture and Food Technology, Professor Mrs. Ijoma Obo. Director, Center for Sustainable Development Goals, Professor Mrs. F.I. Okungbowa. Director, Strategic Planning and Quality Assurance, Professor Peter Aisien. Director, University Advancement and Alumni Relations is represented by Dr. Michael Osasuyi. Director, NEL Fund, Professor E.E. Imariagbe. Director, Central Research Lab, Professor B. Ikadiagbe. Director, Academic Planning is represented by Dr. Mrs. O.M. Edeki. Acting Director, Institute of Education, Dr. K. Imaswen. Acting Director, Institute of Public Admin and Health Services Management, Dr. John Osagai. Acting Director, Center for Educational Technology, Dr. Mrs. M.B. Agaowa. Leading the Vice Chancellor's procession is Mrs. Dupe Obayagbon, Senior Assistant Registrar, Senate Matters. I now have the honor and privilege to invite our dear Vice Chancellor to introduce our valedictory lecturer for today. Vice Chancellor, sir.
Vice Chancellor, Professor Eduba B. Omorige, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, would have loved to be here, but it's away on official assignment, and so he has asked me to stand in even for him on this occasion. So I'll go ahead to read his address. This is an address by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Eduba B. Omorige San, and the introduction of the lecturer, Professor Martin Siaka Zemoya Aisien, on the occasion of the 21st in the valedictory lecture series of the University of Benin, being delivered at the Akindeck Auditorium of the University of Benin. Principal officers of the university, provost of the College of Medical Sciences, deans of faculties and schools, directors of institutes and centers, members of council, professor emeriti, and members of senate, my law, spiritual and temporal, staff and students, distinguished invited guests and friends of the university, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 21st valedictory lecture series of the University of Benin. Today's lecture is the first from the Faculty of Life Sciences and the fifth to be delivered in my tenure as the Vice Chancellor of this university. I want to encourage our retiring professors to avail the university the opportunity to enjoy the vast experiences they have garnered over the years by delivering their own valedictory lectures. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our lecturer for today. He is Professor Martin Siaka Zemoya Aisien. The title of his lecture is Life is Not All You See on the Surface, The Journey of Discovery by a Curious Parasitologist. Professor Aisien was born on 31st March 1956, so today is his birthday. Congratulations, sir. So, he was born in Ibadan, in the Old Western region, to the family of Daniel Ojo Mustafa Musa and Mrs. Aimioje Musa of Owan East Local Government Area, Edo State. He had his primary school education at Nsukka and later at Auchi, where he obtained his first school living certificate in 1968. He attended the Dokpolo Grammar School, Benin City, where he obtained his West African School certificate in 1973. Before gaining admission into the University of Benin, Professor Aisien worked briefly as accounts clerk in the bursary department of the University of Benin from 1974 to 1976. Professor Aisien gained admission into the University of Benin to study zoology and graduated with Bachelor of Science degree, second class honors upper division in 1980. He participated in the one-year mandatory NYC as a biology tutor in Mbaise, Imo State from 1980 to 1981. Professor Aisien also obtained the following additional degrees: MSc in Zoology, Parasitology in 1983 from the University of Benin, and PhD degree in Zoology, but with specialty in biochemical parasitology in 1993 from the University of Hamburg, Germany. He joined the services of the University of Benin in 1984 as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Zoology, now Animal and Environmental Biology, and rose through the ranks to the position of a professor in 2007. Professor Aisien has held several administrative positions within and outside the University of Benin, such as Faculty of Science representative in the Faculty of Arts Board of Studies, 1985 to 1987. Faculty of Science representative in the University Admission Board, 1996 to 2000. RT Head of Department of Zoology, 2000 to 2002. Hall Warden, Aminu Kano Hall, 2000 to 2006. Pioneer Member, Student Certificate Screening Committee, 2000 to 2005. Hall Master, Clinical Hostel, 2009 to 2013. Vice Chancellor's Representative at the University of Benin, University Admissions Board, 2009 to 2010. Senate Representative to the University Research and Publication Committee, 2013 to 2018. Professor Aisien is also a recipient of Federal Government of Nigeria Scholarship for Postgraduate Studies, MSc in Parasitology at the University of Benin, 1982 to 1983. That fellowship for doctoral studies at the University of Hamburg, Germany, by the government of the Federal Republic of Germany, 1987. Research grant from the Science and Technology for Development and Health Programs by the European Commission. Visiting Scientist Fellowship to the Bernhard Nash Institute for Tropical Medicine, Hamburg, Germany. Professor Aisien is a member of the following professional associations: Life Member, Parasitology and Public Health Society of Nigeria; Life Member, Zoological Society of Nigeria; Member, Herpetological Association of Africa; Member, African Amphibian Working Group; Member, and lastly, Member, Amphibian Specialist Group International Union for the Conservation of Nature. He has over 94 publications in journals and books. He has supervised hundreds of undergraduate students, 17 MSc and 9 PhD students. He has attended several local, national, international conferences. He has been an external examiner assessor to many national, state, and private universities. He has also served on accreditation team of the National Universities Commission. Professor Aisien is a reviewer, editorial board member of local and international journals, such as Journal of Hermetology, UK, African Zoology, South Africa, the Zoologist, Nigeria. Is also the business editor, Benin Science Digest Journal of the Faculty of Old Science. Professor Aisien is a devout Christian, a senior pastor in the Church of God Mission International. Where is currently the Zone C coordinator. His hobbies include photography and music. He's happily married to Reverend Mrs. Mercy Aisien, who is a retired nurse and midwife. The union is blessed with 2 children. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to invite Professor Martins Siaka Ezemonye Aisien to deliver the first valedictory lecture from the Faculty of Life Sciences. Welcome.
Please be seated. And as is my custom, I will say, praise the Lord. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I wish to seek permission to stand on the existing protocol so that I can finish what I have here in 50 minutes. I don't know how you do that, the story of a lifetime in 50 minutes, but I will try. I will try. It is with a great sense of humility and profound gratitude that I welcome everyone here to the 21st Valedictory Lecture of the University of Benin. This is the first valedictory lecture from the Faculty of Life Sciences. But I must add that I'm by no means the most qualified to take this prime slot because there have been many greats before me. They are all seated here. I'm afraid. They were eminently qualified to do so. I have no idea why they did not establish a protocol on which I would have gladly stood. But today, I want to beg to stand on their strong shoulders to give this lecture. I'm most grateful to our amiable Vice Chancellor, ably represented by the DVC administration, Professor Edoba B. Omorige San, for granting me permission to deliver my lecture today, which also marks my 70th birthday. And it also marks my formal disengagement from service. According to records, I have served in this institution for 42 years, 7 months, and 1 day. as an academic staff. But I want to add that I had served as an accounts clerk in the bursary from 1974 to 1976 before gaining admission into the university. So, what's up, please? If there's any remuneration for that, please prepare them for me. I was born at Aberdeen, University of Ibadan, while my father was working there as a porter. I did the first 4 years of my primary education at Nsukka when my father was in the employment of that university. Our stay at Nsukka was ended abruptly because of the Nigerian Civil War, and consequently my parents moved us to the Midwest. On our return to the Midwest, my father left us in the village where I continued my primary education. This was my first experience of village life, and while there, and while we played with my peers at that time, I used to mesmerize the village kids with stories, some that were real, others that were made up. You know, you want to show up that you came from the town. I got away with my fabrications because there was no way they could go and verify if my stories were true. Early in 1968, my father moved a family to Auchi following his posting to Auchi Technical College, which is now Federal Polytechnic, Auchi. Mr. Vice Chancellor, before we moved to Auchi, I learned some lessons from the so-called village folks. They too wanted to show me their village sense. One day, they played a fast one on me. They put an electric fish with some water in an iron bucket and requested that I bring the bucket to them. I innocently obliged, only to receive heavy doses of electric current from the fish. I swiftly threw the bucket and the fish away, and there they were, laughing hilariously at me. That was really village sense. And any zoologist that is here will understand what I'm talking about. With all my life in the coast, as it used to be said, I discovered there was much to learn from these folks. From that experience, I realized that I did not know it all. Indeed, no one knows it all. We are all learners all through life. My father's stay at Auchi was short-lived. It was recalled by the Ministry of Education to Benin shortly after our arrival in Auchi. In order not to disrupt my education, he left me at Auchi to complete my primary 6. I successfully completed primary 6 at Government School Auchi, where Professor Edie Ragbe and I were contemporaries. So at least somebody remembers where I schooled. I had my secondary school education at Edopolo Grammar School, Benin City, from 1969 to 1973. I understand our Vice Chancellor later passed through that school. So you see, I can rub shoulders with the great. Unlike what obtains today, many in my generation had a stint of working life before proceeding to the university for higher education. From 1974 to 1976, I worked as an account clerk in 3 departments of the bursary before I went to school. At this juncture, I want to advise the younger generation that life is not a straight line. It comes with ups and downs. Secondly, life was meant to begin small and then grow steadily to its full potential. The present craze by young people to make it big without foundation will only end in a fatal crash. I want to say to you also, don't be discouraged if you were not born into affluence. Many of us were not. With grit and determination, you can make it in life. Today, I'm a professor, but there is much packed beneath. So young man or young woman, what will you say if I told you that I once hawked kerosene in the evening after the school day? That I also hawked moi moi during the holidays? Some will say that's a task for girls. I did it. While we lived at New Benin, I sometimes stood in for my stepmother in her stall at New Benin Market. Those days, I used to be an expert in measuring gari with zobo. I'll put my left hand against the edge and pack the thing. I didn't know I was inadvertently practicing what we read in scriptures today. Men will give you full measure, press down, shake it together, and running over. My father was a staff of this university. He worked in the halls of residence. And we were the early families that stayed in the JSQ. And those of us who belong to that association, we know ourselves. But to the glory of God, I was the first JSQ child to become a graduate. After I graduated, the other parents held their children and said, if Musa's son could do it, you can do it also. And so it spurred so many to become what they are today. Those experiences are not written on my forehead today, but I can tell you that they helped to shape my life to what it is today. I studied zoology in this university, graduating with BSc honors, second class upper division. Unlike the large classes we see today, the class sizes were quite small. The teacher-student ratio was not more than 1 lecturer to 20 students. At this point, Mr. Vice Chancellor, I want to give a little insight into the University of Benin of the 70s and 80s that I attended. The quality of education was very good. We had excellent laboratory facilities, and good books were available in the library and at the university bookshop. Faculty consisted of Nigerians and expatriates. The expatriates came from the UK, USA, and India. There were also visiting lecturers from other universities. Frankly speaking, we had the best of academic experience. And I wish those days could return so that the present generation of students can also enjoy what we had. Accommodation was very good. We were only 2 students to a room, not like what we see today. Every Friday we collected fresh beddings and toilet rolls from the porters. The meals were sumptuous and affordable at 50 kobo per day. That is breakfast, lunch, and supper. Until 1978, when the cost was tripled from 50 kobo to 150 kobo. And this resulted in the Ali must go crisis. Mr. Vice Chancellor, despite the riots that followed that increase, Ali did not go. Government stuck to its gun. The then head of state, General Olusegun Obasanjo, announced that it was not compulsory for students to eat in the government cafeteria. But if they elected to do so, it costs 150K. Even while the price increased, the food quality depreciated. Following low patronage and the students choosing to patronize the bucaterias that sprang up around the JSQ, the central cafeteria complex was eventually shut down and converted to other uses. This is where the students call basement today. I just want to let them know what that place used to be. The Christian Union while in this university, the Christian Union had a profound influence on my life. In those days, the CU was the largest Christian student fellowship that wielded a lot of godly influence. Thousands of students came to encounter Christ through their crusades and fellowship activities. As an individual, the CU helped me to grow my Christian faith, into which Archbishop Benson Idahosa had led me to in 1972. I graduated in 1980 with a second-class upper division. After this, the question that gnawed at me as I prepared for national service was, after university, what next? What next? Today, I have many answers to that question, but the answer I had at that time is what I will tell you now. Is it to take up a job or go for further studies? To get an answer, I turned to God in prayer. And listen to this. I'm not trying to play big or look like a prophet, but I heard God speak clearly to me. You will go for your national service, and when you are done, you will return to this university to do an MSc. And thereafter, the university will employ you. I tried to circumvent this prophecy. Please read the details in the book. I came back to this university. I graduated with an MSc in parasitology in November 1983. And in February 1984, I was employed as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Zoology. God's word came to pass as he said it. For my PhD, the award of a study fellowship by the DAAD, that is the German Academic Exchange Service, provided sponsorship for my studies at the University of Hamburg, with my research base at the Benin Institute for Tropical Medicine, Hamburg. At BNI, as we fondly called it, the facilities for research were state of the art. And here, I learned so much, got to use many equipment I had never seen in Nigeria. And I learned many techniques. In addition, I also learned the German language. And so I greet you this morning. Guten Morgen. I completed my studies and was enrolled for a public defense of my work in German language. The entire university was invited, as was the practice. A panel of 6 professors drilled me for 1 hour. My brothers, my sisters, my fellow colleagues, that was the longest 1 hour I ever experienced in my life, because I was wishing. They will ask me questions and I will answer quickly, and only find that I had spent only 1 or 2 minutes. I expected the time should have moved faster. I was greatly relieved when it was time up. Thereafter, the panel retreated to harmonize their scores. The university had a scoring scale of 1 to 5. 1 was the best and 5 was the worst, and they failed. To the glory of God, the panel turned in for me a distinction score of 1.1. On 21st July 1993, 4 years after I commenced my doctoral work, I was awarded Doctors der Naturwissenschaft, Universität Hamburg. That's the equivalent of a PhD, in a simple ceremony at the faculty office. University of Hamburg, like many German universities, has no convocation ceremonies. That's why I don't have an academic gown from them. On my return from study, I established the laboratory of parasitology research, set up with equipment and consumables procured from grants I got from the European Commission. The grant also provided me opportunity to visit BNI as a visiting scientist for 2 years to conduct collaboratory research. The laboratory of parasitology research over the years has provided excellent facilities for learning and research for students and staff that have passed through that lab. The laboratory also earned my department, high ratings during the accreditation exercises. Now that my time in this university is coming to an end, I reflect on my journey and present my report card on my impact on lives, my contributions to academic discourse while it lasted. The first contribution I would like to make is that I think I was a good teacher. Yes. Students enjoyed my classes. I remember when I was teaching animal behavior, there were students who were not students of zoology. They would stand at the window to listen to the lecture. Please clap for me now. In the course of my career, as is listed, I graduated 17 students, 1 in Germany and 16 in Nigeria at the MSc level. And I also graduated 9 PhD students. The third one is still in the lab in gestation. And in due time, I believe he will also graduate. But several undergraduate students passed through my supervision, and they had a good time in my lab. And because I had a grant, I was able to offer some of them financial assistance, because I so found out among them that all fingers were not equal. I served the University of Benin in various capacities that are listed. And over the years, I served as reviewer and editorial board member for the following journals that are listed, 11 of them. In public service, I also served as the General Secretary, the Publicity Secretary, the Vice President and President of the Parasitology and Public Health Society of Nigeria. I'm currently a member of the Board of Trustees of the Society. If I may just interject here, my president is here, Professor Sam Wobo. He came all the way from Abeokuta to attend this lecture. And other members of the society from various walks of life are also here. Thank you very much, sir. I also served as head pastor, provincial presbyter, and zonal coordinator in Benin Zone 6 of Church of God Mission International. Now, I want to just highlight a bit of the life of the animals we call parasites. One, they depend totally on the host without any form of appreciation for the accommodation and the food that you give. And worse still, when they are wicked parasites, they may end up killing the host. They have complex life cycles. They are more complex than we think or know. They complicate what ordinarily should be a straightforward process. But I think they do it to confuse us humans. Why they keep thriving. We'll be looking one way and they will be going the other way. They are able to alter the behavior of their host with the sole intention of bringing the intermediate host and the host together. And we saw that in our study when we did the biology of post-Haemostomum mtowi. That's the organism. It infects our domestic chicken. Don't worry, it's not where you eat. And that is the life cycle that we unravel in that process. It's one of our major contributions to science. And one of the reasons I chose to major in parasite biochemistry was to understand and, if possible, unravel some of the unique biochemical processes in these organisms. with a view to using them for rational drug design. The search in parasite biochemistry is to find novel parasite biochemical pathways that can be selectively targeted for their elimination. And they also exploit our human behavior. You know, most of us who don't have good toilets, we just go and do bush attack. When you have left there, the flies will carry what you left in the bush and bring it to your table and put it on your food, and your infection would continue. In certain cases, when you go and do the second time, you forget where you defecated. The rain would have washed it. You put your leg where the fecal material was, and the parasite that developed after that, they will tell you welcome, and they penetrate you, and another infection takes place. The appeal I want to make today, and I think my president will like this: please stop open defecation. Don't do short put. Have a toilet in your house, and landlords, please ensure that they have one. They also develop drug resistance. When parasites become resistant, it costs you more to get rid of them. That is if they don't get rid of you. So please, take the right dose of any drug that the doctor prescribes for you. In all, I co-authored 94 publications. And at this point, I know I haven't met the target I set for myself. But my bishop is here, my general overseer. The church assignment you gave to me did not allow me to finish many of the things. But at this point, there are over 15 articles under consideration or in preparation. My bishop, welcome. In parasite biochemistry, the first area I worked in was in lipid composition. I just want to talk briefly on the first paper. This is again to encourage the young colleagues that are here. I discovered along the line in publishing this paper that science has its language, and every discipline has its own language. And if you want to be a successful publisher, learn the art and language of your discipline. When you do that, then you will be a champion in that area. This paper was rejected 3 times. So if you are writing papers and then they reject it, please don't start abusing the reviewer. You haven't done something right. When they rejected it and brought it back, I looked at it and polished it and sent it to another journal. And by the time I had done 3 sending like that, the 4th one said it was so good and praised me for the work. Can you imagine that? 3 failures and 1 big pass. So don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Lay your foundation well and it will be okay. After looking at the lipid composition of that filarial parasite, we also looked at the lipid biosynthetic pathways of the parasite. And we found that if you gave them exogenous substrates, we used radioactive compounds like glucose, acetic acid, and oleic acid, they could transform them to complex lipids. We followed up these 2 work with other work on lipid biochemistry. When I got to Hamburg, I was asked to join the team working on the polyamine metabolism of parasites. And one of the things we did was to establish what role bis-benzyl polyamine MDL 27695, that was the code name, could play in the metabolism of polyamine in parasites. And we found that it was a competitive inhibitor. DVC, I'm sure you understand what I'm talking about, of the pathway, and we were really glad. And so it played a role in the work we did later. Then 2, ornithine decarboxylase is the starting enzyme of polyamine biosynthetic pathway. And we fed this to the to 2 trematodes, Schistosoma manzoni and Paragonimus uterobilateralis. And we did not get the products we were expecting. It meant that this enzyme was absent in the parasite. But we also found that even though they were not converted to polyamines, they were converted to other products. Proline was one product we consistently detected with HBLC. And reading the literature, for those of us who go to buy liver, the fasciola and others produce the proline. That is what hardens the liver. Instead of being supple, they become like rubber. So I'm bringing you from lab to the slaughterhouse now, so that when you see it next time, you will understand. And we also characterize the N-acetyltransferase, the regulatory enzyme in the polyamine metabolism of Fasciola hepatica. Thereafter, because of our finding, I was in the team that looked at a number of parasites, Ascarisum, Acanthamoeba cobatsoni, and Onchocerca volvulus, and we looked at their N-acetyltransferases, and the results are quite interesting. Please, if you are interested, they are in the book, but they are also on the net. Check on them on my ResearchGate column. But when I got back to Nigeria, this area of research got stuck. And someone will ask me, why did you stop? The question then was, or the problem then was light. And the problem now is still what? Light. My sensitive chemicals were getting denatured. I really got frustrated. Enzyme biochemistry, the DVC administration will agree with me, requires continuous and uninterrupted power supply and a cold room. Even in his department now, they lack a cold room. That is biochemistry, in which to conduct investigations and store sensitive chemicals and reagents. When I returned in 1994, electricity supply was very epileptic. And in 2026, 32 years, the problem is still with us. In fact, it has worsened. It has worsened. Mr. Vice Chancellor, if we are to keep pace with the rest of the world and undertake cutting-edge research, we must urgently fix the power supply problem and free the University of Benin from the constantly collapsing national grid. I want to say it emphatically here. Noisy generators have no place in an academic environment. There's no way you can think and think through with a generator by the side of your window. But when it became obvious that research in that area could not continue, I switched over to public health. And myself and my team, we looked at onchocerciasis in some rural communities. We also investigated schistosomiasis in Ovia Southwest local government. We looked also at the loasis, that is the eye worm or calabar swelling, in Ovia Northeast, Umuode, and Eastern West local governments of Edo State. We did some work in collaboration with the River Blindness Foundation. We looked at helminthiasis in Onchocerca endemic communities, and we also evaluated the repellent action of some plant essential oil against the vector of river blindness and other vectors as well of diseases. We made the following contributions. We examined the villagers and their knowledge of what they were suffering. And as it is always in Nigeria, nothing is normal. Rather than attribute it to what was really doing, what was giving them the disease, they said the disease was attributed to witchcraft and ancestral causes. They never associated the disease with bites of the vector of the disease, which they go through every day when they go to the farm. But we also showed them that ivermectin was efficacious in reducing the microfilarial load. We also found that poor ivermectin distribution, that is people refusing to take the drug, was majorly affected by the adverse reactions experienced by the people following drug distribution. And here we made a very interesting finding. We extracted some oils which we asked the farmers to apply to their skin to see how much is scared of the black flies. And we found two of them as very good candidates, Callistemum rigidus and the oil from Ocimum gratissimum. Those oils, when you rub them on your skin and you're in the farm, for 3 hours, no black fly will perch on you. And we surmise that if a farmer in a 6-hour working day could apply it twice a day, they will not receive any bite of Similium while they are at work. And that way, transmission will be broken. In an epoch assignment, we also established that ivermectin's distribution was not a hindrance. That when Uncle Seka and Loa coexisted in a community, ivermectin distribution did not cause any problem. And so that gave a leave for the work to continue. That is the ivermectin distribution. And to know when to apply the oil we have talked about, we established a bimodal biting pattern of Similium damnosum. And we found that they had 2 peaks of biting period. One in the morning and the other in the evening. And this incidentally coincided when people went to the village stream to go and fetch water, or in the evening or later in the day to wash their clothes and other things. So you see, we did quite some work in this area. But I'll quickly move to animal parasitology. And I will say that this is one area that our team made very significant contribution, because it brought webometric visibility to the University of Benin. That is, it put us on the international platform. I will also say that this is where the zoologist in me came out, because we did many work that we show here. We worked in the rainforest, the Altar rainforest, the Guinea savanna, the creeks of the Niger Delta, the polluted environments in the Ogoni land, plantations, that is the oil palm and rubber cocoa plantations of the Okomo oil palm company, and the cocoa plantation at Aisien. We also worked in areas that were delineated to ensure that animals were conserved, and this was also in Okomo oil palm company. There, please go to the book. I have listed all the work that we did, and we have contributed immensely. In our work in animal parasitology, 25 of the 94 publications we have are from this area, and they are all in the international journals. We also looked at the parasites of water turtles, and we recorded many species that had not been known to science before now. We described them, and they've been published. One interesting one is Ocoricitica obiamiwe, which we have named in honor of Professor B.A. Obiamiwe. He was my mentor and parasitology teacher. I'm hoping one day my students will name one after me. And I was also say here, Vice Chancellor, sir, there are many parasites whose publication we have put on hold because the article publication charge is just too high. I sent out a paper to be published recently, and when I converted it to the Nigeria equivalent, it was to cost me 535,000 naira. And for goodness sake, until the government decided recently to look into salaries, that wasn't even my salary. It means I had to take 1 month's salary and add maybe half to it before I could publish one paper. Vice Chancellor, sir, I want to make an appeal. I hear that in some universities they assist their staff who have international publications to pay for them. And I know that there are many scholars in this university that have groundbreaking research, but we force them to go and publish in a catalog journal of science. That must stop. That must stop. So these are some of the organisms we described. The first one there, A, is Polystoma okomoense. It was not known to science. Hamotrima species, it was also not known to science, and it is the first time this kind of parasite was described from water turtles. From water turtles. Before now, they came from other hosts. Then we C, we also described from water turtles, and we named it after Nigeria, and that's why we called it Coptilapsis nigeriensis. The last one there is a Europolystomydes species. It has also been established morphologically and with molecular tools that it is a new species. In this slide, the A is Polystoma africanum. We redescribed it because when it was described, the features we found were not reported in it. And the middle one there, or the one after, is Ochoristica obiamiwe. And the third one is, we found a Polystomoides bogati that had 7 instead of 6 suckers. That was the first finding of this type ever reported all over the world. And lastly, we see one funny-looking fellow there, Tetrachotri strigid larva. We are still trying to find out what this guy does. But one thing we have found is that it is a parasite of prey birds, like vultures, kites, and what's this one that moves in the night? Owl, yes. They are parasite of prey birds. And this we found in the enclosed or conserved area of Okomo oil palm industry. Today, these are some of the things we have achieved. Our laboratory is a reference center for researchers in Nigeria and West Africa. We now provide training or specimen identification for staff or students from other institutions in Nigeria, and those that we have done it for are listed there. And not long ago, a student, a PhD student, came to our lab from Burkina Faso and was hosted in our lab here. In recognition of what we have done, in 2009, I was invited to join a Biota Africa expert team to investigate the effect of pesticides used on amphibians in the cotton fields in northern Benin Republic. And there I was able to extract a paper out. And in 2021, the journal Diversity invited me to do a review of amphibian parasitology in the whole of West Africa. These are things that put our university up there. And please, let's make this place work for us so that it can bring the university honor. We have also published the volume 1 of a book called The Parasites of the Herpetwana of Nigeria. A second volume is in the making. The University of Benin can leverage on the capacity we have developed. Thank God I have foot soldiers I'm leaving behind, to establish a center for parasitology research, which researchers can visit and conduct relevant research and pay moderate bench fees to sustain the laboratory, instead of seeking such services overseas. Most people go to the British Museum, and I want to tell you something. Somebody went there to go and identify his parasites from amphibians. They brought out my specimens, and that was the reference with which they used to identify his specimen. So we have it here. So why not we blow it up so that it becomes a center that people can come and do their work. Our studies have revealed high species diversity in the different vegetational zones of Nigeria, most of which remain undescribed. But we have achieved the following. We have described some new species of African origin. We can replace foreign species in our textbooks. I don't want to see anything foreign anymore when we have indigenous species that are the same thing with what they have described. We have established also that amphibians are excellent sources of specimen for practical exercises in zoology for our students. I want to advocate that research in animal parasitology be encouraged to unveil new species. Unveil new species that will continue to attract international research collaborations, to identify zoonotic parasites of public health importance, to furnish our museum with teaching and research materials, and to facilitate the establishment of a molecular biology laboratory to identify parasites beyond their morphology. Somebody may say, what's the use of all these things they are doing? Of what importance? Recently, a paper emerged in the Journal of Emerging Diseases of a parasite which was thought to be just parasites of snakes. It has now been found to be parasitic in humans as well. And they migrate around the body aimlessly because that is not their final host. And in the case that was reported, an Australian woman was carrying this parasite in her brain, and they had to operate her to bring it out. And when I looked at our data, this parasite is present in all the biotopes. They probably are crawling, they are being deposited on your ugu, cabbage, and everywhere that snakes go. And what is more frightening, the snakes that carry them are in our environment. But thank God, we don't eat like the Igbo people. We cook until fire kills the parasite. But I also want to warn that there's a possibility of human infection. So please, all those vegetables we eat without cooking, treat them well. Wash them with warm salt. It helps the eggs to be washed off. And do it once, twice, and you are safe. And like I said, if you cook it well, there's no wahala. So that's the picture that was taken of the lady. The white patch was what the X-ray assessment revealed, and that is the parasite that was extracted from her brain. And I asked the question, who knows how many of our people are carrying such things around? But God help us. And that is a picture of those larvae. You can see a lot of worms inside the body cavity of this particular amphibian. That's how they are. When snakes eat them, they get infected. And now they are infecting us with them. As I conclude this lecture, I must draw attention to the negative effect of insecurity on field research. I recall one occasion when we were walking at Okomu National Park. We left our lodging at 10 p.m. We got to our study site at Lake 21 at about 1:30 a.m. For part of the journey, we trekked in the dark with our flashlights as our only source of illumination. We returned to our lodge at 6:30 a.m. the next morning. We had no fear of being kidnapped. We traveled to locations like Agbedeo, Buna, Agedegoda, and Nedonot, and as far as to New Busa in Niger State without fear. We had similar liberty while walking in the creeks of the Niger Delta, and both in Delta State and in River State. So also was the situation when we walked in the cocoa plantation at Aisien. Today it's impossible to undertake such trips, even in broad daylight. The situation is robbing our students of valuable field experience. I pray earnestly for the healing of our land and a restoration of normality. I must express our deep gratitude to Dr. Graham Heffer, Managing Director of Okomu Oil Palm Company. He opened a safe haven for us in the oil palm plantations, and the management not only gave us free hand to work there, they gave us free lodging and free feeding, and they also provided us with transportation and armed guards during our night walk. Please, can we give them an applause? He was to send a representative. Mr. Subo, are you here? Where are you, sir? Aha. They should have put you in front. No, I don't like that position. But the MD sent him to represent him here. I want to say to Dr. Heffer, we are very grateful. The university is grateful. And I also want to appeal to us. If we have work to do in such an ecosystem, he is one excellent partner the university must hatch on. Thank you very much. I want to make my recommendations. There are very few. Management should please urgently face the power problem in the University of Benin. You may not have all the financial resources to tackle the problem in one swoop. Therefore, a phased approach is perhaps the best way to go. According to a Chinese saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with what? One step. Then I want to also plead that we urgently consider expanding the infrastructure for the biological sciences. I was one of the first students that came to use the building that we are in 1978. We are still in the same building in 2026. And that building is now housing 3 big departments. If you are from the life sciences, can you raise your hands there? That's not the wahala where we get to. Now where the big person, now they put for near fire. I am going, but it would have been very selfish of me to keep quiet. Thirdly, third fund assistance should be sought to equip the Museum of Natural History in the Department of Animal and Environmental Biology to enable it become a prime research facility and an income generating facility. Because when science tourism comes there, they pay to work there, and the university will get money. Students will come on excursion, they will pay money, university will get money. And we as a department won't come to you again asking for money. Number 4, our non-academic colleagues should please be trained and brought into course advising and registration in order to free our younger colleagues to attend to the core duties of teaching, research, and community service. Lastly, I want to recommend for urgent consideration that the Senate of the University of Benin begin organizing farewell sessions for exiting professors. Not everyone may wish to have a valedictory lecture and thereby announce their retirement. A situation where academicians who have given the best of their years in service to this community exit unannounced and uncelebrated leaves much to be desired. It is not about giving them money. It's just to let them know their services were appreciated. And I'm sure senior colleagues here will agree with me. In conclusion, in this lecture I have shown from my life that the challenge of small beginnings can be surmounted by the grace of God, sheer determination and hard work to bring us to unimaginable heights of success. I have also said something about the inner life and workings of animals that we call parasites. I've detailed our contribution to human capacity building, our contribution to knowledge in parasite biochemistry, public health parasitology, and animal parasitology. I think this is the most difficult aspect of this work today, the appreciation. But first of all, I want to thank God for his immeasurable love and grace in my life. I am what I am today by his grace. I thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Edoba B. Omorige, SAN, for granting me the opportunity to deliver this lecture. Vice Chancellor, sir, God bless you. God bless you, and may the Lord continue to grant you greater success as you steer the affairs of this great institution. My appreciation also goes to the management team as we have listed there, please, so that I can cut time. I also thank my beloved Christian brothers and sisters who stood by me in prayers, supported me financially, materially to make this occasion a reality. The Lord bless and replenish your resources. I thank the President and members of the PPSN who, despite their busy schedules, made out time to join me on this occasion. PPSN is not just a professional association. It is a family. And if you are an undergraduate, I invite you to come and join us. I'm grateful to the deans that have served in life sciences, the office of the dean, and all those who work there. To my AEB family, there is none like this family in the entire university. Can you please clap for them? Our predecessors taught us to bond as a family, and that bond has endured over the years. Well, I thank my brothers and sisters in the FMI and ONE Forum. I thank my friends and colleagues who are across the various faculties in the university with whom I shared committee assignments to move our university forward. Here again, please pardon me. I thank our mother, the Archbishop, M.E. Benson Dausa, for her leadership of this Church of God mission. Bishop Dr. Feb Idahosa, the General Overseer, and other bishops for watching over the flock of the Lord and keeping the work and vision that Papa left for us. I appreciate members of the God's Historic Miracle Center, which was the first church I pastored, the Mother Bishopric at Yaro, and presently also, I appreciate everybody for Benin Zone 6. I wrote a long, eloquent thing there. God will bring it to pass in your lives. I remember with fond memories my father. That man knew the value of education. He gave it to me and my siblings, and that's why we are thriving today. And I thank my siblings. We bonded so well together, and nothing has been able to separate us. To my larger family, I say thank you very much. Here, I want to mention Professor Onugbe and his wife. They are here. That's my cousin. He just retired from Benin University as the provost of the College of Medical Sciences. There are others that are here. Adamo Hiamoha, Aliu Adamo, where is Tyro Ojekoa? These are my cousins. They have come. Others live too far, so they couldn't come. I'm sure maybe they are watching us now. I want to thank my in-laws. They are here in good number. They gave me my beautiful wife. And over the years, I have enjoyed great friendship with them. God bless you. God bless you. I may come and pay a second bride price. Before I thank my wife, I have my twin brother here, Professor McDonald Edu. And please, don't be angry with me. I have too many friends, and they have been too good to me. God bless all of you. Then I come to the... I deeply appreciate my dear wife, Reverend Mrs. Mercy Aisien, who over the years have been my friend, my confidant, and a fellow minister in the vineyard of the Lord. You created the enabling home environment for me to excel in academics and in ministry pursuits. You were the prayer warrior behind the veil, interceding for me like no other. Today I say a big thank you. Now that retirement has come, I pray that God will grant two of us length of days to age gracefully together and to enjoy the fruits of our labors. For my two sons, Divine Gift and Israel, this is my prayer for you, that you will grow in grace and become all that God has destined you to be. I want to thank you all for listening. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I am done.
Can we give a stand ovation to our valedictory lecturer? Thank you. Congratulations, sir. I now respectfully invite the Vice Chancellor to give a recap of the lecture.
Agree with me that the lecturer has done justice to the topic. Shall we put hands together for him? The lecturer gave an insight into his early life. So I'll do a synopsis of all that he has done, sort of a recap. So he has given insight into his early life and how, despite his small beginning, he made it to great heights in life by the grace of God. And also determination and dint of hard work. He admonished the younger generation not to despair in the face of difficulties. There comes a bright light at the end of the tunnel. The lecturer also gave an account of his contribution to human capital development, service to the university and the global academic community in the course of his almost 43 years sojourn through the university system. During his career, he successfully supervised 9 PhDs, 17 MSc graduates, and several undergraduate students. The lecturer gave details of his research work in 3 domains of the parasitology discipline, namely parasite biochemistry, public health parasitology, and Animal Parasitology. The lecturer exposed the hidden life of the animals we call parasites. He remarked on their total dependence on their host, having complex life cycles, complex biochemical processes, have the ability to alter host behavior to achieve infection, how they take advantage of human behavior, and how they develop resistance to drugs. In parasite biochemistry, he unraveled a number of biochemical pathways and characterized some of the regulatory enzymes controlling these pathways. I can tell you it's not an easy task. So our lecturer has contributed so much to the field of biochemistry, where I also belong. So thank you so much, sir. In public health parasitology, he investigated some parasitic diseases of rural folks, including river blindness and helminthiasis and leiosis. He also identified some plant essential oils that serve as repellents of disease vectors. In animal parasitology, the lecturer and his team not only published papers in high-impact journals that has given the university webometric visibility, they have also attracted international collaborations that gave our students access to facilities in collaborating institutions. They have described at least 4 animal parasites that were previously unknown to science. They have also drawn attention to the possibility of infection from emerging zoonotic parasites. And he has also made recommendations, which I want to say that it will be given priority consideration. You mentioned electricity, lack of electricity. I want to announce to us that their efforts by the university to have a 16 megawatts of solar energy. And this is being, we are one of the universities that has gotten approval for this 60 megawatt solar energy. And it's being sponsored by the Rural Electricity Agency. In fact, they have started some initial work. The first stage of this project is going to be a 7 megawatt project. And I can assure you, by the time this is done, the electricity situation in this university will have improved. So there is hope. That's just what I want to say. There is hope. The Vice Chancellor is aware of it. And in actual sense, without electricity, you can't achieve anything. So, but I think the university is on the right course. So, like I said, there's a lot of hope. The second aspect, you also mentioned about the Faculty of Life Sciences, where I also belong. And somehow, the Vice Chancellor is also an associate faculty because his wife happens to come from life sciences. The dean can recall, he can attest to this, that VIS is making effort towards getting the faculty a building. At the time, he called the dean of life sciences to come up with a concept note for the building of the faculty. So, again, all hope is not lost. So once again, I want to congratulate the lecturer for a job well done. And I'm going to wish him well and also wish him happy birthday. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. The Vice Chancellor will now make a presentation to our valedictory lecturer today. Please, members of the immediate family, come up stage to join him at this point. Wife, Mrs. Mercy Aisien. Please let's put our hands together for them as we warmly receive them up stage. Immediate family members, please come. celebrate the spouse of our valedictory lecturer today, Reverend Mrs. Mercy Aisien, also the son, Divine Gift Aisien. We also welcome Israel Aisien. We welcome family members of our valedictory lecturer today, Mrs. Ungozi Shokbeju. We welcome you. Mrs. Grace Dania, you're welcome. Mrs. Victoria Musa, we welcome you. Mr. and Mrs. Aliu Adamu, you're welcome. We welcome Barrister Turu and Mrs. Ojehua. We welcome you especially today. We welcome Ms. Ajibola Shokbeju. We also welcome you, Ms. Lola Shokbeju. Please can we celebrate these persons as we mention their names. These are family members of our lecturer today. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us receive and warmly welcome the Overseer, Church of God Mission International, and President, the Benson Idahosa University, Bishop Feb Idahosa. We welcome you, sir. We also welcome the PRO of CGMI, Reverend Alex Idu. We welcome you also, the University Orator of the Benson Idahosa University, Professor Mike Higile. You're welcome, sir. We welcome the former Vice Chancellor of the Benson Idahosa University, Professor MacDonald Idu. Please, can we put our hands together to celebrate these personalities? We also welcome the HOD Corporate Communication of Church of God Mission International, Mrs. Sharon Ihile. You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you for coming. We welcome the President, Parasitology and Public Health Society of Nigeria, the person of Professor Sami Olufemi Sam Webo. We welcome you, sir. Thank you very much for making our time to be here. We welcome you, a Professor Emeritus Nusai Gafona. Welcome, sir. We welcome Professor Emeritus Julius and Professor Mrs. Ika Tua. Welcome, sir and ma. We welcome the River State University, all the way from River State University, Port Harcourt, Professor Adaobi Ugbome. Please can we celebrate our visitor? We welcome Professor Jacob and Professor Mrs. Evelyn Unuigbe. Welcome, sir and ma. We welcome Reverend Elder Ainyayo. You are welcome, sir. Thank you very much for coming. We welcome Mr. Adamu Ohiomohai. We welcome you, Engineer Hope Owa. We welcome you, Professor Paul Ikoko. Thank you very much for coming. We welcome one of the tallest men on campus, ladies and gentlemen, the former Dean of the Faculty of Life Sciences, Professor Jerry Ore. We welcome you, sir. We welcome the former Director, Center for AI Development, Professor Omohua Adeleye. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for finding time to be here. We also welcome the former Director, IPTTO, Professor Anthony Ogbebu. Please, can we celebrate these persons? We warmly receive the presence of Professor Matthias Emokpai. We welcome you, Professor John Olumukoro. We welcome Professor Festus Aloha. You're welcome, sir. We welcome Professor Gideon Emelwe. Please, can we celebrate Professor? Thank you very much. We welcome you, Professor Patrick Wadia. We welcome Professor Mrs. P.A. Isemila. You're welcome, ma. We welcome you very specially, Professor Felix Ogwanan. Thank you very much for finding time to be here this morning. We welcome Professor Victoria Wagbashema. Thank you very much for coming. We welcome Professor Cyprian Oshoma. We welcome Professor Kingsley Ahigbe. Professor Mrs. Francisca Egbohari, MNI. Thank you for coming. We welcome Professor Mrs. M.A. Aidaipo. We welcome Professor Felix Osagai. You're welcome also Professor Mrs. Ngozi Ilo. We welcome Professor Mrs. A.O. Awaritoma. We also welcome you, Professor and Dr. Mrs. Osagi Akbata. Ladies and gentlemen, please let us warmly receive and welcome all members of Church of God Mission International. ladies and gentlemen, just to inform you that tomorrow by 11 a.m. we will be having the 22nd valedictory lecture of the University of Benin here at the main auditorium. Guests are expected to be seated by 10:30 a.m. And this is how we conclude this 21st valedictory lecture of the University of Benin. Thank you very much for coming, and we hope to see you in our valedictory lecture tomorrow. God bless you. Please, you remain where you are as we stand up now to take the Uniben anthem, and then we'll take the pledge. Please, let's be on stage. Pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity, and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. Please kindly remain where you are while the Vice Chancellor will lead this procession out of the auditorium. Please remain where you are while they do this. Thank you.